Chapter 89 to 95. In the meeting room, about an hour or so after Phobio got fucking wrecked. At a large long table with multiple chairs situated around it, I am in my human form sitting on a chair at one of the ends of the table. Standing behind me is Cheyenne, Benimaru, and Rigard. My right hand supports my head as my elbow rests against the armrest of my chair. My left is slowly stroking Shizu, who is sitting on my lap, invoking an atmosphere similar to that of an evil final boss. Rigard, Cheyenne, and Benimaru are looking at me with shining eyes. My golden eyes lazily gaze at the figures at the other end of the table, as if they could pierce through all of their secrets. Those figures are Phobio, who is sitting down, and his subordinates who are also standing behind him. Aside from Phobio, they are shivering slightly while looking at me with wary eyes. Meanwhile, Shizu, remember our deal? Rimuru, yeah, you sit on my lap while I tick off the evil lord act from my bucket list, and I'll give you my newest creation, the fish bun. I burned a lot of brain cells to come up with that creation. Shizu, as long as you remember. As we finish up our thought conversation, Shizu nuzzles up into my hand and just enjoys the moment. Regardless of the deal, I know she loves getting stroked, so she would have accepted the deal even without the fish bun as an incentive. As for a certain railgun, Manus, and Destroyer, they're not here. They don't like to sit down and listen to politics and shit. I don't either, but I'm the leader here, so it's kind of my responsibility. Who's the idiot that made me king? I demand a refund. Anyway, I should just get this over and done with. My attention turns to Phobio. He's still got his head held high, looking down on us all even though he got knocked unconscious within 10 minutes of entering Avalon. I don't know whether he's an idiot or he just doesn't realize what happened to him. I form an amused smile. Rimuru, so? Care to introduce yourself? Phobio, huh? Why should I? Rimuru, because I asked you to. I immediately fire back at him. He stares at me for a moment before he huffs dismissively and introduces himself. Phobio, huff. My name is Phobio, also known as the Black Leopard Fong, one of the 3 Beastketeers serving directly under Demon Lord Carrion. He smirks slightly at the end. If I had to take a guess, he probably expected that we would have some sort of reaction towards the name Demon Lord Carrion. I mean, Rigard and Benimaru would probably become a bit wary if Melim Nava herself, one of the strongest demon lords, wasn't living here in Avalon. She single-handedly ruined the majestic and proud image of demon lords for all the residents here. It's kind of hard not to when she acts like she does all the time. In any case, none of us reacted much to his name, which caused Phobio to lose his smile. Rimuru, well, I guess I should also introduce myself. My name is Rimuru, I'm the leader of the city called Avalon. And I transform into my slime form with Shizu laying on top of my body. Rimuru. I'm a slime. Phobio, huh? A lowly slime is the leader of these monsters? Rimuru, yes. And this lowly slime is the master of these monsters standing behind me, so I'd watch my mouth if I were you. I transform back into my human form, Shizu somehow still sleeping on my head instead of back on my lap. I just shrug my shoulders. She's a cat. Don't question how she does it. Phobio, what? You're going to order your pets to teach me a lesson? He smirks dismissively at me. I just smile back at him. Rimuru, no, what I'm saying is that these guys will teach you a lesson regardless if I order them to do it or not for the disrespect you're showing me. And they'll make sure it will be a long, painful lesson at that. He loses his smile. Cheyenne is raring to beat this guy up, and Benimaru is honestly a bit shocked at the mere thought that someone would dare to disrespect me. Rigard is also very angry, much more than when he was punched. And all of their auras are leaking. Feeling their auras, Phobio knows he wouldn't be able to beat these guys, at least if they gang up on him. If it's a one-on-one fight, he would win. Unfortunately, he is also slightly wrong in that assumption. Their auras are only slightly leaking, not flaring at full blast. Cheyenne and Benimaru are among the strongest serving under me. They're also stronger than their canon counterparts, so they can easily wipe the floor with Phobio without even getting serious. Rimuru, so? Why are you here in Avalon? I'm sure having a Beastketeer personally take charge means it's an important matter. He wears that dismissive look on his face again. I immediately pose my fingers as my looks turn JoJo-styled. Rimuru, your next line is, you expect me to answer a lowly slime? Phobio, you expect me to answer a lowly slee-wa. Got him. I return back to normal, acting like nothing happened while Rigard is struggling not to bow down in worship. Rimuru, well, I have a pretty good guess what your goal is anyway. Carrion is probably looking for some magen that have appeared in the Great Jura Forest and wants to scout them to serve under him. Phobio's eyes widen in shock. It seems I was spot on. I mean, it's the same reason as Canon, so it wasn't too hard to guess. Well, Cheyenne, Rigard and Benimaru are looking at me with a look that screams Sasuga Rimuru-sama. I form a warm and kind smile and continue talking. Rimuru, and I'm sorry to say this, but we're the magen your boss is looking for. There's good news and bad news. The bad news is I'm not the type to bow my head to anyone else. The good news, for you that is that I'm not looking to make enemies left, right and center, otherwise I would have killed you the moment you injured one of my subordinates. I rest my chin in my palm and place my elbow on the table in front of me. I slightly release Lord's ambition, causing my eyes to glow. Like a predator in front of his prey, I grin and Phobio unconsciously lowers his head. Rimuru, get out of here, your face annoys me. And tell Demon Lord Carrion that although I'm not going to serve him, I am willing to talk with him. Choose a date and time and contact us again, otherwise don't come back. Phobio hesitates before standing up and leaving the room. His subordinates move to follow him. However, just before he completely leaves the room, he turns around and mutters under his breath. Phobio, you'll regret this. And there we go, he hit the young master cliché. Now he is destined to eat his words. Cheyenne, are you sure about this, Rimuru-sama? You're not going to show him his place? Cheyenne asks me a question as she releases the grip of her sword. She was the tensest out of everyone in the room. If I didn't tell her through thought communication to stand down, Phobio wouldn't be walking out of here in one piece. He might not be walking out at all. As for her question, I just chuckle. Rimuru, ha. There's a saying from my old world. A lion does not concern himself with the opinion of sheep. Why should I be bothered with what a weakling thinks about me? If anything, this whole event was more amusing to me than anything else. Cheyenne thinks for a moment before a "why am I even doubting him" smile spreads across her face. I hop up from my chair and pick up Shizu from my head before carrying her in my arms. That was a bit tiring. I've got to thank Ilya for what she went through, so I'll give her a head pat. Then I'll feed Shizu her fish bun, and then, oh, I have to punish Mikoto. A lap pillow will do. Rimuru, I continue humming as I teleport back home. Ilya, Oniai-chan. Rimuru, What's up, Ilya? It's been a week since I dealt with Phobio and his group. I was wandering around Avalon, thinking it would be a good change of pace when Ilya runs up from behind and calls out to me. I just want to say, however, that I remembered there was a reason I rarely left the house. I'm antisocial as fuck. Although I'm wearing the identity concealing rune, I still hate crowds. Regardless, my saving grace, Ilya, runs up beside me and hugs my left arm. I just smile warmly and start head patting her with my right hand. I love head patting her. Her hair is so silky and soft, plus it's good for my soul. Ilya, ehe. Oh, right. Oniai-chan, something came up. She begins to melt under my touch, but she shakes off that feeling and tells me why she's here. Now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure my head patting technique has reached god touch levels. Rimuru, something came up? Is it serious? Ilya, and no, it's... Her words drop off and her eyes gain a distant look before she snaps back to reality. Ilya, it isn't something serious. Her whole body relaxes and her facial expression slackens. She jolts back, vigorously shakes her head, and glares at me with a pout. Rimuru, no, I will not stop head patting you. Ilya's expression turns into a defeated one as she knows I won't stop before it turns into a content one. Do you see what I mean? God touch. Ilya, someone with computational powers several times higher than even Mikoto, can't handle the sheer power of my head pats and is melting under my touch. With this power, I can easily amass an army of Lolas to conquer the world. I would be unstoppable. I mean, you can't hurt Lolas. That's just the law. Regardless, Ilya gives up on telling me what's going on normally and just hands the information to me with the head pat information transfer technique we use. I get the gist of the situation now. Basically, Ilya sensed a couple of groups of humans approaching Avalon. Specifically, it's the prelude to the next event. One of the groups is the Three Stooges, the three adventurers, Cable, Elin and Jido. They visited Avalon a long time ago with human Shizu just before she died. This time they're accompanied by their guild master, Fuse. I actually forgot his name and I only remembered it from Ilya's information. The second group belongs to Yom. They're a ragtag group of small-time criminals assembled to deal with monster problems that the country couldn't be bothered to deal with. And by that, I mean all the monster problems. They were sent this time to scout out the Orc Lord. I mean, it's been a while since the Orc Lord's occurrence, so knowledge of its existence has already spread through the human countries. However, knowledge of its defeat is a different matter. According to my memories from canon, only a select few people are aware of the Orc Lord's defeat. Anyway, they're here, so I need to talk with them when they reach Avalon. Can they get here safely? Oh well. I can just resurrect them if they die, lol. But I feel like I'm forgetting something. Rimuru, hey, I don't see Makoto or Malim anywhere. Where are they? Ilya doesn't even bother trying to answer me and just passes the info directly to me while continuing to melt under my hand. I see, so Makoto is on her occasional wander through the forest while Malim is wandering around the city by herself. Malim is by herself. Boom. Oh no. Shizu and Malim have teamed up and are committing several acts of arson. Gunshots and screams off in the distance. Sniff. Just because Malim isn't alone doesn't make things better. Third person POV. Meanwhile, at the same time in the forest a few kilometers away. A night spider. That's an A- rank monster. A mage identifies the monster that just appeared in front of the large group he is a part of. The night spider looks at them with its many eyes and charges at them. It wasn't actually targeting them originally, but a smaller group of 4 people have somehow attracted its aggro since they are quite prone to danger and shit like this happens all the time, so no one questioned it. Anyway, the smaller group attracted its aggro, and since they couldn't deal with it by themselves, they ran away, straight into the larger group. Seeing this as a chance, the smaller group joined up with the larger group, and well, to put it simply, they're all gonna die. I'm sure you already realized by now, but the smaller group is Elin, Cable, Jido, and their guild master Fuse. The larger group is the band of small-time criminals led by Yom. Unfortunately, even with the power of friendship, the night spider is an A- ranked monster. There's no hope. But suddenly, a wild Pikachu appears. Mikoto, oh, Elin, Cable, Jido. I didn't expect to see you here. Makoto, who was wandering around the forest throwing one thunderbolt attack after the other at random monsters, meets with both groups. And thus, the ragtag group of unfortunate humans lived to see another day. As for Gabuda, who originally saved the group in canon. Gabuda *sniff*, why am I the only one being chased around by that cat from hell? Unfortunately, he was the main target of an arsonist cat and an arsonist demon lord. Gabuda laments his misfortune as he puts out the remaining flame on his body. As for what he did to become Shizu and Malim's target, no one knows. Probably something dumb, it's Gabuda after all. A while back, Malim was standing to the side while Shizu is currently in the middle of a demonic ceremony. They are in a large dark room with a menacingly glowing magic circle in the center. In the middle of that circle is an unconscious Gabuda. Shizu Nyaia. Saying something in the language of demons, in the language of cats, the magic circle brightens and a blood-red fog begins to gather in the middle, above the unconscious Gabuda. Malim, with centuries of experience, is unable to decipher the magic circle. But she doesn't care, and just continues watching with excitement shining in her eyes. The fog compresses and begins to form something physical. It turns white before small patches of blue begin to form around the edges. The blob shifts, morphing into a more detailed figure. The white fog turns more fluffy and begins to look more like fur. 2 long ears appear on top of its head. Its fur along its tail and back of its head becomes even more pronounced. Its small eyes open, revealing a lavender color. And finally, a mini cloak appears around its neck. It looks like a small squirrel. Foe. Malim, Kaya. What is this? It's so cute. Malim screams and Shizu just nods. Unfortunately, Gabuda wakes up at this moment and the magic circle disappears. Foe will now return back to its world after a small moment, making it sad, drawing Malim's and Shizu's anger towards Gabuda. Boom. Oh no. Shizu and Malim have teamed up and are committing several acts of arson. *VM. An orange beam of energy hits the hard carapace of the night spider and easily pierces it. Night spider re. With a scream that sounds like it came from a 12-year-old on an Xbox, It wobbles for a bit before it collapses onto the ground, dead. I in a single hit. Random mob A speaks out the thoughts of everyone in the group. I mean, for the people in this world, only a small percentage of humans could ever hope to fight an A- ranked monster and win, much less kill it in a single hit. I mean, the night spider is most renowned for its defense. But unfortunately for the night spider, Mikoto's railgun is a single target piercing attack. And if you play lots of video games, you should know that piercing attacks specialize in dealing with armored enemies. Anyway, Mikoto doesn't even turn to look at the fallen monster and instead walked over to Elin, Cable and Jido. Mikoto, I haven't seen you in a few months. Elin, Mikoto-san. Elin runs forward and hugs Mikoto lightly. It's a girl thing, Cable and Jido know not to imitate their companion. Instead, they just greet her normally. Cable, it's been a while. Jido, we didn't expect to see you here. While Cable and Jido are less acquainted with Mikoto than Elin is, they still greet her, happy to find a familiar face after a life or death situation. Well, for them, situations like these are just your average Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Thursday. You get the point. Meanwhile, Guildmaster Fuse is standing off to the side with a what the fuck expression, wondering how in God's name do those three idiots know someone this powerful yet totally unheard of. Anyway, not much happened after that and Mikoto invited them all to Avalon. She also invited Yom and his group that were kind of just standing off to the side, not sure what to do. A while later. MCPOV. In my human form, I am once again sitting in the meeting room. Fuck me, I hate this place. It makes my brain hurt, having to deal with politics and shit. Anyway, this time in the room, sitting to the left, is the Guildmaster Fuse and his escorts Cable, Jido and Elin. Also sitting to my left, next to Fuse, is Yom and a couple of his subordinates. One of them is a mage, and the other seems kind of familiar. Rimuru, hey, do you have a brother or something? I ask him a question. He seems surprised, pointing to himself, asking if I'm talking to him. I just nod. Yeah, I have a brother. He looks just like me, but he has a screw loose in his head. Literally. Ah, so he's the brother of one of the thugs I met in front of the gates leading into Dworgen. You know, one of the guys I turned into magical girls. Specifically, the guy I'm thinking about had, well, as Brother Kuan said, he has a screw loose. Literally. I mean, he really had a screw drilled in his skull. But it seems Brother Kuan here is much more tolerable, so I won't turn him into a magical girl. Brother Kuan shivers for a moment, not knowing why. Whether it was from an instinctual fear or excitement, no one will ever know. In any case, everyone else is staring blankly into space with their mouths wide open. Their minds are completely blown by the sight of Avalon. Which makes me happy. I want this place to be the very best, like nowhere else ever was. To attract humans is my real test, to show off in my cause. I'll attract them from across the land, all over, far and wide, to show each of them the power that's inside. Pokemon theme starts playing. I chuckle to myself. Really though, I want Avalon to be a place totally unlike any other place, both here in this world and on Earth. Avalon is creeping ever closer to completion. The modern fantasy atmosphere is at its strongest point yet and it's only getting stronger. Large streets paved in smooth stone with softly glowing runes engraved along the side. Buildings reaching dozens of meters high, yet not crowding the sky at all. Trainee is quite happy since her bar located at the top of the tallest skyscraper would soon become a reality. It's like it came straight out of a fantasy, which doesn't sound that amazing since we are in a fantasy world, but it's breathtaking nonetheless. Sitting to my right, opposite of Fuse's and Yom's group is Malim, Mikoto, and Ilya. Since Mikoto is familiar with Elin and the other two and Ilya has my memories of the group, they decided to join. As for why Malim is here, it gets boring without Mikoto or Ilya is Malim's reason. Oh well, her loss. Shizu Naya. Shizu was sitting on my lap, as I wanted to do the evil mastermind overlord thing again, but Shizu just pointed a figurative middle finger to my plans and hopped off my lap and onto the table. Ilya, Shizu, come here. Ilya, seeing this, opens her arms towards Shizu, prompting her to walk over. Shizu Naya. The adventurer trio flinches. Taking a small moment to register what they just heard, their eyes widen. Elin/Cable/Jido Shizu became a cat. Fuse just looks at them like he's questioning their IQ. Fuse, of course she didn't, you nimwits. Didn't you already report that Shizu died? The cat is probably just named after her. I just smile. Oh, if only you knew. But this is the first time the adventurer trio saw Shizu in her cat form. Shizu died in her human form, so I protected her soul and resurrected her. She was just an egg by the time they left. And yes, they know about Shizu's reincarnation. She spoke quite fondly of these three, thinking it's a blessing to have her last adventure to be with them. Because of this, I saw it fit to inform them of Shizu's reincarnation just before they left. Elin ihi. Cable, T that's true. Jido ahaha. A bead of sweat trickles down their cheeks as they nervously try to play it off. Shizu's reincarnation shouldn't become a well-known secret, after all. If people realize I can resurrect people, death rates will increase and Meat Bun Rob will have his work cut out for him. In fact, only Ilya, Mikoto, the three adventurers and I know about Shizu's reincarnation. To everyone else, she's just a cat named after a human that was close to me. I mean, I literally resurrected thousands of orcs and lizardmen, so I don't know why I'm keeping this a secret. Oh well. The humans don't know anything about this, and I don't want to go through the troubles of telling them either. Procrastination. Well, nothing much interesting happened over the next couple of hours or so. The meeting started with everyone introducing each other, starting with the monsters standing behind me as advisors and or guards. They are Benimaru, Cheyenne, Shuna, and Soai. Sitting on the right side of the table, opposite Fuse's and Yom's groups, is Rigard, Mikoto, Malim and Ilya. Shizu Naya. Oh, and Shizu. Although for the human sanity, we decided not to disclose Malim's identity as a demon lord. After that, Fuse introduced himself, followed by Cable, Jido, and Elin. Finally, Yom introduced himself. Fuse, pardon me, but I wanted to clear this up before we begin. Sir Rimuru, are you really? Rimuru, Yeah. I'm a slime. I quickly transform into my slime form before shifting back to my human one. Although my slime form is more comfortable if I'm just lazing around doing nothing, my human form is more familiar to me, so I can move around easier. And thus, after Fuse and Yom get over the shock of me being a slime, the meeting began. Fuck me. Well, Ilya was there as support giving me advice every now and again, so it wasn't unbearable. Thank ROB for her, or else I would have to start worrying about having to replace my brain cells. And I'm a slime, my whole body can act like a brain, so that's saying something. I also created a giant plate of steaming hot meat buns for everyone to enjoy. Elin, Cable, and Jido's eyes shined like stars in the night and they immediately jumped at the plate and started scarfing its contents down while crying tears of joy. Omu. They really understand. Anyway, the meeting went like this. I started off by asking for their reasons for entering the forest. Ilya reminded me of their original reasons that were stated in canon, but I can't always be sure. In the end, Fuse and his group entered the forest to investigate the Orc Lord incident since it was sparking quite the news fire back in Blumund, their country. He also wanted to check out a certain mysterious slime, that's me. Yom and his group were also here for a similar reason, wanting to check out the Orc Lord. Well, that was the official reason. They actually wanted to fake their deaths during the mission and run away to another country. Farmus, the country they work for, doesn't really treat them well, and more like a cheap way to deal with monsters. They don't really care if they live or die. Yom was still a bit out of it, so it was the magician and his group that was doing all the talking. I mean, Fuse heard that I was a slime from the three adventurers' reports, so wasn't as shocked, but Yom was different. Yom, Jay, just hold on a second here. Why is everyone okay with this? Why are we all just listening to this slime? Why is this guy going around like he's the king of this place? I looked to my subordinates, behind me. I looked to Ilya, Mikoto, Dan, and Malim. Then I look at Yom like he's the dumbest human alive. Rimuru, I am the king of this place though? Yom. I mean, I thought we already established this? Rimuru, well, regardless of my race, I'm pretty strong, you know? I mean, I fought against a demon lord once. Yom www. Fuse are really. This set off a small mental bomb in the humans. I mean, a demon lord is no joke. Even though humans have begun to underestimate demon lords since the truly powerful ones haven't made a move in centuries, demon lords are still incredibly powerful figures that can endanger an entire country. Milene puffs her chest out once she realized I was talking about her, but no one notices. In any case, I reassure them, few specifically, that I have no intentions to be hostile to humans. In fact, I want to befriend humans. I want to show Avalon to the world, to have people come and admire the thing everyone created, to have them enjoy the harmonious atmosphere of the ever-distant Uppoya. And then I will show them all the gloriousness of meat buns, and spread it throughout the world. I can see it now. I fly up to the sky, with the sun shining behind me. Using the power of runes and creation, I will drown the world in meat buns. The world shall know taste. Meat bun tensei. Mikoto ****. Oops, I lost track there. Thank you, my voice of reason. Mikoto rolls her eyes with a poorly hidden smile and goes back to nibbling on her meat bun. So cute. Anyway, I then proposed an alliance of some kind between Avalon and Blumond, the kingdom Fuse is from. Of course, right now, it's just a proposal, there's barely any details and it's just an idea, but it got Fuse thinking. For Yom, on the other hand. Rimuru, so yeah, wanna be a hero, lol? I proposed the idea of making him and his ragtag group of small-time criminals into champions. Please note that although I used the word hero, I don't actually want them to become heroes with a capital H. Hero is a title belonging to those who are enemies to demon lords. Proclaiming yourself as a hero without at least the strength of a demon lord does nothing but puts a target on your back. So champion is a better word. Milene was really adamant about this, something to do with carrying the spirits of the past, or some Chiyuni bullshit. I just zoned it all out. She herself wasn't really interested in that matter anyways. But this conversation happened a while ago. Anyway, contract with Yom. Basically, it entails that Yom and his group will now work for me. Avalon will support them with equipment and training of various kinds to make them worthy to be called champions. In return, they will take on the mantle of the ones who slew the Orc Lord. Meanwhile, Avalon will be the city of monsters that helped the champions in their darkest times. Well, that's the story we're going with. Yes, I just copied and pasted the entire thing from canon. I mean, it works, doesn't it? And it's kind of the only path we, as monsters, could take. I mean, other than just going into hiding. Think about it. Humans are really fickle and fragile creatures. They are also paranoid. Monsters are beings innately hostile to humans. Of course, there are some exceptions, but they are the minority. Now, imagine if a large city of those monsters was suddenly founded and discovered only several months after the true dragon Veldora's disappearance. Not only that, those monsters could deal with an Orc Lord, a monster that is known to bring destruction and chaos every time it appears. Yeah. A holy crusade is most definitely likely, although I don't know why they call it a holy crusade when it's got nothing to do with either lawless, dogs, and/or heretical actions against them. Although I honestly wonder if Avalon will ever fall with my protection, it's still not a good thing for my relationship with humans if we're hostile to them. However, what if Avalon became a city of monsters that helped the humans who defeated the Orc Lord? Things change very quickly. And that is what I'm aiming for. A few days later. So yeah, the meeting went well. I honestly can't remember much from it though. Fuck those people wanting to take over the world. Obviously, they are people who never had to deal with responsibility before. Try having to always deal with politics and shit. Sure, I could always just rule through my power. I mean, I am pretty powerful, and I could probably just force most of the countries around the world into submission anyway. But I won't, because if I do that, then there is a very good chance that a dollar store AKMGA Kill Night raid group wanting to topple me would appear. And I can't be fucked dealing with that. In any case, shit happened after the meeting. Fuse used his position as a guild master to get in contact with the other guild masters to spread the story that I made. You know, the story that Yom and his group beat down the Orc Lord and Avalon was just supporting them. Those who have a brain should think something is up, but they would have no proof. In return for Fuse's help in this matter, I made a promise of my own. I, and by I mean someone else, would construct a road leading from Avalon to Blumond. Geld has been looking for more work since the road leading to Dworgen is finished and Avalon is nearing completion too. I will never understand that man and his love for work. Furthermore, I would also give preferential treatment to any merchant who travels to Avalon as long as they are affiliated with the guild. This is also good for me too. It's like an investment, a step towards making Avalon the center of trade of the whole world. What kind of preferential treatment am I giving the merchants? Pfft, I have no fucking clue. That's Rigurd's job to figure out. Maybe give them discounts or exempt them from tariffs? Rigurd, a brilliant idea, Rimuru-sama. For some reason, he was really excited at the idea when I suggested it, looking at me like I'm some sort of sage. I didn't know this until a few days later, but the idea of exempting merchants from tariffs to attract more of them to a country or a city is a revolutionary idea to this world. Huh. In other news, Yelm accepted the contract. You know, the one where he and his group work for me. Basically, he would go around saying he and his group were the ones that took down the Orc Lord. They would also happen to mention a mystical city of monsters called Avalon that gave them support in their darkest moments. With Avalon's support, they were able to make a final stand against the horde of orcs and finally slay the Orc Lord. A little cliché, but bitches dig shit like that. While going from place to place, he and his group would help as many people as he can, causing his fame to grow, and by proxy, Avalon's fame would grow as well. There's a little problem here though. Yelm *******, I fucked your mom last night. Hakuru ho ho ho, is that so? He is definitely not champion material. So Hakuru stepped in and decided to train them. All of them. As they are now, they stand no chance against an Orc Lord. Yelm ***** screaming ****. May you rest in peace. Well, getting trained is in the contract. Avalon supplying them the best gear is also in the contract. I use the word best loosely because I'm not the one making them. Anyway, Hero will be making the weapons and Garm would be making the armor. For those who forgot, Garm was one of the dwarf brothers I hired during my colorful trip to Dworgen. He specializes in armor. Although they will be making stuff for the whole group, they will be prioritizing Yelm. He's the leader and the face of the whole operation, after all. Showing off Avalon's craftsmanship is good for attracting people. Oh, and once humans start visiting Avalon, we can start enticing them to live here and we can finally get humans working too. I mean, so far it's just monsters here. It's not bad, but I miss human interaction. Okay, so that was a fucking lie. But you get the idea. We can get servers to serve people, shopkeepers to look after shops, guards to guard people, cooks to cook people. No, that's wrong. Ignore that. But I'm not doing this for no reason. Sure, this all happened in canon, so I feel a little obliged to do the same. But it's not like it did it blindly. Many things could go wrong. I could get betrayed, or my judgment could be wrong, among many things. This is an AU. I can't be certain that Fuse, Yelm, or even Cable, Jido, or Elin are the same as shown in the anime. There is a chance that they could be different. Thankfully, so far, the only change in this world was a matter of time. Some things happened sooner than planned, and some things happened later, but the personalities of the people I met haven't changed from the original, so far. Well, maybe Phobio was a bit more of a dumbass, or maybe the anime just couldn't encapsulate his sheer stupidity, who knows. Regardless, I recently made a certain rune sequence. It's mostly done for fun. Basically, this rune sequence will scan a person and somehow tell me their alignment. I scanned Yelm and it came up with lawful neutral. He seems trustworthy if this thing is accurate. Lawful people generally like to keep their promises. I think. I wonder, what's my alignment? A circle of runes appear above my hands, glowing from the magicules flowing with them. It pulses for a moment before it disappears and two words pop into my mind. Chaotic good. So that's my alignment, huh? I thought I would be neutral, but it seems I'm leaning more towards good, huh? It must be the modern man in me. This is interesting. I wonder what Makoto would be, probably lawful good. Lawful neutral, if you're pushing it. She's not the naive girl she used to be now. Ilya would be true neutral, most likely. Regardless of how she acts, she can be quite calculating. She would sacrifice millions of people if I wished without batting an eye. It's a little flattering, to be honest. Milene would probably be chaotic. Neutral? Maybe chaotic evil? I wouldn't call her evil, though. Chaotic good? I really can't get a grasp on her, but she's definitely chaotic. And Shizu is just chaotic evil, no doubt about that. I'm joking. I hope. Out of the corner of my eye, I see something horrendous. A meat bun is dropped onto the floor. Chaotic good, chaotic evil. Who the fuck dared to do such a thing? Oh, it's just a poster with a meat bun printed on it. Chaotic evil, chaotic good. Tee-hee. Meanwhile, Ilya is sending Rimuru judging stares from halfway across Avalon. It's been a couple of days since I checked my alignment. Right now, the sun has set and it is currently nighttime. The stars are shining and the moon is glowing, unhindered by the lights in Avalon. The barrier covering the city is softly glowing, unconsciously giving any who look through it a sense of security. On such a night, I am sitting on a stool in front of a bar with a drink in hand. Trainee, the owner of the establishment, is calmly cleaning glasses with a rag behind the counter. No one is saying anything, the noise of the city is cut off at the door, creating a comfortable silence. I bring up my drink to my lips and take a sip. Mikoto Rimuru, stop monologuing and drink your damn coffee like a normal person. TCH. Rimuru, can't you just let me act like a posh person for a small moment? I turn to my rude companion, sitting to my left. She is in her Tokuwada uniform, which is pretty rare for her recently, sitting on a stool with her back leaning against the counter. In her hand, a small coin is spinning around in midair, manipulated by her Electromaster Esper ability. Mikoto, posh, people don't go to places like this in a shirt and jeans. I look down at my current attire. I was feeling lazy, so I just threw on a white t-shirt and black jeans. With my looks, anything I wear makes me seem like a model, so I never bothered with my clothes. If I wanted to bother with my clothes, I would ask Shina. Rimuru. Touché. Mikoto just sighs and catches the coin rotating over her open palm. Mikoto, so? Why did you call me here? Rimuru. Because I want to spend time with you? It's true. I feel like I haven't been spending much time with her alone recently, especially after the festival. I mean, several things happened and I didn't really have the time to just sit down and talk. And so I just randomly called her to hang out here in Trainee's bar. Mikoto, is that so? Her eyes widen a bit before she looks back down at the coin in her hand, avoiding my eyes. A small smile spreads out on her lips and her cheeks redden. Just a bit. She's gotten more used to my sudden attacks, so she doesn't react as much as she used to. If it were before, she might start stuttering as her whole face would glow bright red. Of course, that doesn't mean she no longer cares about them. If I pushed her enough, she would return to the same embarrassed tsundere that I love. Suddenly, an influx of foreign memories rushes into my head. I don't panic, however. Several days ago, right after Phobio left Avalon, I used enhanced replication and sent a clone to tail them. And just now, the clone dispersed itself, seeing that its job is done, which sent all of its memories to me. Yes, it's fucking shadow clone jutsu. As for its job, I ordered it to follow Phobio until he fuses with Charybdis, freeing it from its seal. In any case, I immerse myself in the memories. Phobio, the black leopard Fong and one of Carolon's beast Katirs was sitting around a fire with his other 3 subordinates. Why they have a fire started in the middle of the day is beyond me, but this world is all kids of whack, and I've long learned to ignore such things. Phobio, I can't let that happen. Please, calm yourself, Phobio-sama. Phobio, shut up. It's true, I've dealt with the situation badly. I was too prideful for my own good and I failed to live up to Carrion-sama's expectations as a result. Just from looking at their town alone, you can tell that have access to technologies even we don't have. Oh, it seems he himself realizes he was out of line. Maybe he's beginning to change. Phobio, but I still want to wipe off that smile from that damn slime's face. And nope, he's still a lost cause. Oh ho ho, I understand those feelings. That frustration, that anger. I'm quite familiar with those feelings. A voice echoes out from between the trees, prompting Phobio and his group to jump up, wary of a sudden attack. Who goes there? One of Phobio's men shouts out. Footman, a good day to all of you. I am called Footman, a member of the Moderate Jesters. They call me the Angry Jester, and I am delighted to make all of your acquaintances. I'm not going to lie, I totally forgot his name. Suddenly, a female figure pops her head out from behind the fat man. Tyr, you don't have to be so wary of us. My name's Tyr, a fellow Moderate Jester. We're sort of jacks of all trades, and I promise we're not fighting against you. Phobio and his group look towards each other. The fact that the two of them could evade their senses speaks for their strength, so suddenly saying that they aren't here to fight. Of course, being the man he is, Phobio easily takes their word for it. It's a wonder how this man lived to become one of the 3 beast Katirs. In any case, Footman and Tyr quite obviously begin to verbally poke Phobio, tempting him with the powers of Charybdis. Charybdis is a monster born from Veldora's magicules. I forgot the specifics, but basically, it's an unkillable monster that only works on its instincts, seeking nothing but chaos and destruction. Although I said unkillable, I use that word very loosely. Basically, once it's been killed, it would revive itself after a given time. In other words, it would not die when it was killed. Wait a minute. Cough. But it still can be permanently killed under certain circumstances. It's just never been done before. The last time it was killed, however, it was sealed by a hero, so it hasn't revived itself ever since. Anyway, Footman and Ter kept tempting Phobio with the power of Charybdis, telling him to harness it and become a demon lord himself with enough strength to crush Avalon. Phobio, enough with your blabbering. I have no wish to destroy that town, I just want to show that slime is place. Furthermore, why should I believe you? What do you get out of this? Bibakana, impossible. Phobio is getting smarter. Footman, of course, we hope to ask you some favors when you finally become a demon lord. Phobio, oh okay. No, another false alarm. Phobio then turns around and tells his men to go back and report everything that has happened to Carrion. Phobio also steps down from his position as a beast fatir, not wanting to cause any more trouble to him. Phobio is dumb, but not as dumb as before. Did Mikoto's lightning strike rewire his brain? What a fearsome power. In any case, not much happens after that. Phobio gets led to Charybdis and my replication clone saw everything. After it confirmed that Phobio fused himself with Charybdis, it dispersed itself and I received all its memories, including the location of the seal. This all happened earlier today. I still don't know why they started a campfire at noon. Mikoto, something wrong? As soon as I finish processing the memories, Mikoto wakes me up from my stupor by asking me a question. Rimuru, nothing, why? Mikoto, well, you were staring at Trainee's JoJo figure display case for a while. Trainee and I look at each other and shrug. We don't see how that's a problem. Rimuru, well, a clone gave me its memories and I had to file through it. It's nothing. I tilt my head back and down the rest of my coffee. I stand up and turn around, walking towards the door. Trainee, Era, you're leaving so suddenly? What about your date? Mikoto looks down and fidgets a little before looking back up at me. A regretful smile forms on my lips. Rimuru, unfortunately, something came up. I'm just gonna go deal with it. Speaking of which, Mikoto, do you want to come with me? Mikoto, what for? Mikoto asks, while standing up and following me. Rimuru, nothing much. Just that Charybdis is gonna revive soon, probably tomorrow, and I want to deal with it before it gets out of hand. Mikoto, oh. Although Phobio already fused with Charybdis, it should still take a while before it completely frees itself from its seal. Both Mikoto and I exit the bar and begin walking away. Trainee, who was still processing my words, finally registers what I just said. Trainee, what? The sun is high in the sky, signifying that it is currently midday. The afternoon wind is blowing softly, brushing against my body. I am standing on the edge of a random cliff, looking at a certain cave at the base of a hill a few kilometers away. My arms are crossed and my lips are curved in a small smile. Milim, hey, are you sure Charybdis is here? I don't see anything though. Milim pokes her head out from behind me and asks me a question. I don't move my eyes and just point at the cave. Rimuru, right there. You didn't sense it? It's a bit surprising. I thought Milim would be the first to notice, well, maybe the second, since Ilya is like a supercomputer and she specializes in information like this. It's pretty obvious too. The aura spilling from the cave just screams lust for destruction. Milim, that's Charybdis? Isn't it a little weak though? That's why she didn't register it, the aura was too subtle for Milim. My lips twitch a bit. Ilya, well, it's currently sealed right now. Once it breaks itself free, it will become much stronger. Ilya walks up next to Milim, reassuring her by telling her the reason why Charybdis was currently in such a weak state. Please note that even though the aura spilling from the cave is minimal, if a normal human were to spend an hour in there, they would probably go mad. I sigh and take my eyes off the cave, turning around and walking back. A few meters away lies a tree, and under the shade of the tree, Mikoto is there ruffling Ranga's fur. Mikoto, who's a good boy? Yes you are, yes you are. Meanwhile Ranga is on his back enjoying one of the best belly rubs of his life. I smile at the scene and lean my back against the tree. Mikoto notices me and looks up without stopping her hands. Mikoto, so? How much longer? Rimuru, shouldn't be a few minutes. Charybdis should break out from his seal very, very soon. Everyone is excited, including me. Why? It's because we're bored as hell. Last night, I received memories of Charybdis revival from my replication clone. After that, I went looking for Milim and Ilya to ask them if they wanted to beat up a giant fish. Needless to say, they accepted. Milene was especially excited about it. Milene, my fists were itching so much lately. Is what she said when I asked her. Are you having withdrawal symptoms for fighting? Is that even a thing? Well, I can understand it. Like, what if I was forbidden from ever using Mikoto's thighs as a lap pillow? Or what if I were to become physically unable to ever headpat Ilya again? Shudder. That would be as bad as losing my source of meat buns forever. Maybe even a bit worse. Maybe. It's a tough choice. As for Shizu. She didn't come with us. Shizu Naya. I'll just sleep. She just curled back up into a ball and slept. That damn lazy cat. I sit down next to Mikoto and let my body fall sideways. My head falls onto Mikoto's open lap. Mikoto, eh. Mikoto makes a cute squeak as her whole body stiffens up. But I don't say anything and just enjoy the sensation. A dozen seconds later, Mikoto's body slowly begins to relax. Right now, I'm sure steam would be rising from Mikoto's head. She became more used to having physical contact with me, but suddenly doing something like this will still force a reaction out of her. While enjoying the sensation of Mikoto's soft thighs, I gaze at the scene of two lolis interacting with each other. Milene is wearing a white sailor uniform with a sky blue collar. She also has a black skirt ending above her knees. Ilya is wearing a similar outfit, with the collar of her sailor uniform being light pink instead, and she's wearing shorts that hug her legs. I internally nod my head in satisfaction. Both of them are very cute. After that, I use universal sense to look in my direction from a third-person perspective. Specifically, I look at Mikoto. She is wearing a pinkish-white turtleneck, strangely emphasizing her developing body. She is also wearing a loose white summer jacket over it. For her lower half, she is wearing white hot pants, exposing a small amount of skin before her white stockings cover the rest of her legs. Absolutely breathtaking, as usual. Also, I think I see some flowers and stuff blooming around her, but I'm sure it's just another unlogical anime thing. Jingle. I hear a small ringing sound from above me. While I am still in the third-person perspective, I look at what made the sound. It was her Gakota bracelet. Her hand is hovering over my head as she hesitates whether she should stroke my hair or not. She lowers it slightly, nearing my head before she jerks it back up and shakes her head. She then proceeds to stare at my sleeping face, lowering her hand before repeating the whole process. What a cute tsundere. But it seems her other hand is still giving Ranga the time of his life. Ranga, oh yeah, that's the spot. Right there. I'm jealous. Her bracelet continues to chime from her movements as I eagerly wait. Just as she made up her mind and was about to touch me. Boom. Motherfucker beep, 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 beep. Ilya Oniai-chan. It's coming. That's what she said. Oh wait, I shouldn't say that now. I jump up and run over to the edge of the cliff as Ranga and Mikoto quickly follow, the latter with dangerously red cheeks as she keeps looking down. Ranga looks at Mikoto before nodding his head like a sage. Must be chlamydia. Ranga and Shizu are a lot more similar than they think. As I reach the edge of the cliff, standing next to Ilya, I look in the direction of the cave. Flying in the air just above me is Milene, aiming to get a better look. Can't she see perfectly fine from the ground though? Ignoring her, I focus back on the cave. The cave is now spewing visible amounts of aura, scaring away any critter or monster in a large radius. The ground 100 meters around it begins to shake. Cracks from the entrance of the cave quickly spread out, breaking up the land. Rimuru. And so it begins. Ilya stops looking at the cafe and just stares at me. I begin to sweat slightly. Ilya. Cringe. Crack. My heart shatters and I barely resist the urge to fall to my knees. I was just trying to say something those shonen protags would say at a time like this. Roa air. A roar, similar to a feral scream from a dragon, echoes out. A flash of light shines out from the cave, forcing me to close my eyes. Even universal sense couldn't pierce through the light, so I quickly realize it's another anime thing and I shouldn't question it. After the light dies down, I open my eyes again and I come face to face with Charybdis, hovering over the completely intact ground. I won't question how the fuck it got out of the cave, that's clearly too small for it. Inhale. Ilya, don't say it. Rimuru za. Ilya, please, Oniai-chan. Ilya grabs my shirt and looks at me with pleading eyes. Rimuru zie warudo. I ignore her and spread my arms out in a T-pose. An intangible wave washes over the whole world of space, within dozens of kilometers, slows down to a halt and begins to fragment like shattered glass. And so everyone, including Charybdis, shifted into the mirror dimension. Name, Rimuru. Race, origin slime. Protection, crest of space. Title, highest tier spirit, leader of the monsters, Oniai-chan, king of Avalon, master of headpats. Manus, Iliasville. Ultimate skills, Beelzebub, Lord of Gluttony, Ahura Mazda, Lord of Creation, Scathach, Lord of Runes. Unique skills, Spatial Ruler. Intrinsic skills, Infinite Regeneration, Universal Shapeshift, Universal Sense, Enhanced Replication, Universal Thread. Extra skills, Lord's Ambition, Thought Communication, Control Particles, Control Natural Elements. Resistances, Cancel Pain, Resist Melee Attack, Cancel Natural Elements, Cancel Ailments, Resist Spiritual Attack, Resist Holy Attack. Equipment, Yamato, Harp, Raphael, Skill Orb. If you want to support me, check out my Patreon at https://www.patreon.com/Kayashin. I tend to polls that decide important plot stuff in my P at Trian. Many thanks to my awesome patrons. Ben Phillips. If you liked the content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll stay here until next time.